grappling with in terms of the Christian faith as it pertains to all of us.
Yes.
And our obligation is, how can we realize more strongly that the love that we must show is not only to God and our neighbor, but to the substance of our earth and what it inhabits, because we're so absent-minded in the care and stewardship of our created matter that what would be the driving force in this faith that could assist and could actually define more carefully that mission?
About our environment? Is that
about our entire surroundings. We as dust, us going back to the earth, we're essentially terra firma. Why don't we care for it like we should, so we see that it will preserve our humankind rather than disappear?
Okay. In the book of Genesis, it records that God, it's the first verse of the first book of the Bible, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And so in the Christian worldview, you have God the Creator, who's a transcendent being, an eternal being that created this universe. And God says, when He created the universe, He says, what I've created is very good. And then He created all the animals and everything else. He created man, and He created woman. And He says, I've given you dominion over all the animals. I've given dominion over this earth, authority over this earth. And so I believe that God has given us a responsibility to care for and be good stewards of this universe.
How does that play out then? I mean, it doesn't just go so much as to know that we're stewards, but don't we have to act out on it too as Christians? Because otherwise our faith is missing something, right?
I think when your faith is missing something is when you have not yet made Christ your Lord. And once you've made Christ your Lord, according to the book of Ephesians chapter 1, you have all spiritual blessings from heaven belong to you because you have Christ. So once you have Christ, you have all the blessings of God. And Jesus, the Bible reveals that there's coming a day when Jesus returns a second time, that He's going to restore this earth. And the Bible says there's going to be a new heavens and a new earth. And Jesus is going to restore this earth into a better earth than it ever was, even when He originally created it. But only God can do that. Only God can ultimately do that. We can be good stewards, but only God, the Creator, can restore this earth. And the Bible records in the book of Genesis that there was a great fall. It's the fall of man. I'm sure you've all heard about it. When humans sinned against God, it wasn't just the human nature that fell. It wasn't just humans that fell, where evil, suffering, death came into human experience. The Bible also reveals that creation itself was deeply contaminated. And Paul writes about that in the book of Romans chapter 8. I encourage you to read it. I think you'll like that chapter a lot. He says, he says in Romans chapter 8 that even creation itself groans and eagerly waits because it's been subject to corruption. And it's eagerly waiting for the redemption. And so there is coming a day when even this earth is going to be restored. But the most important part for us is, do we have Jesus? Think about eternity before you start thinking about the natural.